Hello everyone, myself Charanjit Singh. In this part of the video, I am going to start a new chapter, that is classification of elements and their periodicity in properties. So as we already have discussed in ninth class, we know 118 elements were found still up to till date. To read their property and to study their chemical and physical behavior, we need to be arrange them in a proper order so that we can remind their property and we can remember each and everything about it. In this chapter we will discuss in detail about it. So first of all, let's start with the very basic definition of the periodic table. What is periodic table? So periodic table may be defined as the arrangement of the known elements according to their properties in a tabular form. So with the help of this tabular form, we can read or we can remember or we can discuss in detail about the chemical and the physical body. We don't need to be memorize so much because we already have having a tabular form. So that's why it is a need of the art to create a periodic table. So many attempts were done with the so many scientists has started to introduce some periodic tables. So I'm going to just give you a brief about how many periodic table we have, how many periodic table are being discovered by the scientists and how are they are rejected and why they are rejected. So let's start with the very first periodic table that was given by Dobner, and this is also known as law of triads. According to this law, the elements in the triad had similar properties, and the atomic weight of the middle of member of each triad is very close to the average of the other elements. For example, let's take an example of lithium, sodium, potassium. We know, according to this law, he states, law of triad states कि average atomic mass of the middle element, average atomic mass of the middle element will be equal to the average of these two. Again I'm repeating, suppose if I am having three elements, for example lithium, sodium and potassium. Okay, lithium, sodium and potassium. Atomic mass of lithium is 7 and potassium is 39. If I need to calculate the average of it, means 7 plus 39 divided by 2, we will get 46 divided by 2, it will be 23, which is the atomic weight of the sodium. So this was the law of triads, means the mass of the middle element, will be equal to the average mass of the extreme elements. So he arranged the elements into a three element, he arranged the element into a groups. So this law is known as law of triads. So he have given another example like calcium, strontium and barium and chlorine, bromine and iodine. So this was a law in which was introduced by Dobner, but this law was having very great up to a very great limitation. The reason is this law was applicable to only these example. When we are going to apply to another elements, this law was not applicable. This law was completely failed. So new scientists introduced one more table, that was Newland's law of octaves. According to this law, when the elements we are going to arrange in increasing order of their atomic weights, the property of every eighth element are similar to the first one. Newland called this law as law of octaves also, and he just basically this relationship is he just like every eighth note resemble the first in the octaves of music, means he compare this law with the music notes. As we know, every eighth note is repeated after the first one, means first note is repeated after the every eighth note of the music. So he compared this law with the music, and this law was discarded again. The reason was this law was applicable up to calcium only. After that, this law was not applicable. So this was the main drawback of this law. So after this, a new law was introduced. That law was Mendeleev's periodic table. According to Mendeleev's periodic table, the physical and the chemical properties of the elements are periodic function of their atomic weights. Okay, I'm repeating, the physical and the chemical properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic weights. So basically he arranged horizontal rows, and he called that rows as period and vertical column as groups. The main we I can say the main merit of this Mendeleev's periodic table was, when he was discovering this law, he left some gaps in between. He predicted some other elements also. Means he said, when he was making this, he was formulating this periodic table. He gives us some position to the elements, but he also predicted some other elements. For example, and he named that elements as Eka aluminium or Eka silicon, Eka means, it is taken from the Sanskrit word that is called, which means next. So he said, after to this next aluminium, next silicon, this will be the name of the this can be the properties of the elements. Means he just predicted, and his prediction was very right. Later on, this Eka aluminium is known nowadays is known as gallium, and whatever he predicted about Eka aluminum, it was completely right. And Eka silicon, now it is known as germanium, and the property which was discovered by him, or he was predicted by him, was completely right. But there was again certain defects in the Mendeleev periodic table. So the defects of Mendeleev's periodic table are: position of hydrogen. So first one was position of hydrogen. In this he said hydrogen was placed in group 1. However, it resembles with the elements of group 7a also. Again, I am repeating. He has placed hydrogen in group 1, but it resembles with the properties of the halogens also. So he does not basically give the correct definition why it was placed in group 1. Okay, then the second was anomalous pair. Although we know Mendeleev said we have to place some elements according to their atomic mass, but later on he concluded some elements. He has arranged some elements, but not according to their atomic mass, but according to their property. For example, argon was placed before potassium, or one more is cobalt is placed before nickel. So he was not justifying his own law. Next one was position of isotopes. So what are the isotopes? Isotopes are the atoms of the same elements having different atomic masses but same atomic number. Therefore, according to Mendeleev's classification, they should be placed at different places depending upon their atomic masses. For example, we know position of the number of isotopes of hydrogen are 3. So they should be given a separate places according to their atomic weight, but it was not given to them. Okay, this was the third defects in Mendeleev periodic table. Next one is some similar elements are separated, dissimilar elements are grouped together. So in Mendeleev's periodic table, some similar elements were placed in different groups, while some dissimilar elements had been grouped together. For example, copper and mercury resembled in their properties, but they had been placed in different groups. Okay, again I am repeating the example. Copper and mercury resemble in their properties, but they had been placed in different groups. This is again a defect of he was not able to explain this. Next one is cause of periodicity. What is periodicity? Periodicity means repeating of the properties. So Mendeleev did not explain the cause of periodicity among the elements. Why these elements are repeating the properties, he was unable to explain. Next one is position of lanthanoids and actinoids, which are heavier. So the 14 elements following lanthanoids, or the I can say 14 elements which are actinoids also, whose atomic number are between 90 to 103, they have not been given a separate place in this Mendeleev periodic table. So these all are the basically defects in Mendeleev's periodic table. So these defects were later on improved by another periodic table, that was modern periodic table. This was given by Henry Moseley. So according to this table, the physical and chemical properties of the elements are the periodic function of their atomic numbers. Okay, he means in this elements, in this he arranged all the elements in the order of their increasing atomic numbers. Okay, in the order of increasing their atomic numbers. So when the elements are arranged in the order of their increasing atomic numbers, it is observed that the elements of similar property reoccurs at regular interval of time, or we can say periodicity occurs. As a result of this, element fall in the certain groups and lead to an arrangement which is again known as the periodic table. So this was the law that was given by Henry Moseley, the modern periodic table, and later on he also named this table as the long form of periodic table. Basically he this long form of periodic table consists of horizontal rows which are known as periods, and vertical column which are basically he called groups. So there are 7 periods and 18 groups, and he numbers the periods, the 7 periods as 1, 2, 3, and 4, and groups as one first A, first B, second A, second B, up to 8 or up to so on. So let's see how he has basically done this. So let's talk about the periods, electronic configuration of the elements. So if I need to talk about elements of first period, means he has created 7 periods and 18 groups in his table. So let's, if we have to talk about elements of first period, first period means n is equals to 1, as we have done in our previous chapter, chapter number 2. N is what? As n is principal quantum number. That means if n is equals to 1, it contains only 2 elements. So this is not surprising because first energy shell k has one orbital. If you remember 1s, it has only one orbital, so only 2 electrons it can occupy. So that's why in first period there will be 2 elements, that is hydrogen and helium in the periodic table. Again I am repeating, in first period, that is n is equals to 1. If n is 1, that means there will be a one orbital. In one orbital maximum 2 electron we can have. So that's why there are 2 elements in the first period. Similarly in second period, there n is equals to 2. Okay, means 1 2s and 3 2p, means L shell is introduced, means there are 4 orbitals. There are 4 orbitals. So maximum we can have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So in second period we can have maximum how many elements? 8 elements. Okay. Similarly for the third periods we are n is equals to 3. So similarly for the other periods also we can calculate the number of elements. Now we will discuss about the nomenclature of the elements whose atomic number are greater than 100, means how we are going to give names to that particular elements whose atomic number is greater than 100. So to do this you need to remember this table. In this table you can see uh, for digit 0 we are having name nil, for 1 un, for 2 bi, 3 tri, 4 quad, 5 pent, 6 hex, 7 sept, 8 oct, 9 n. Okay, you need to remember this table. How to give names, that is suppose you are having 101. Okay, for 1 we know the name is un, so I will add un. Then 0 means here is nil, nil, nil. Okay, for 0 we have written nil. Again there is 1, that means again we have to add un, that is un, and at last I have to add word em, so it will become un nil anium. Again I am repeating, suppose now you are having 102. For 1 I have to write un. For 0 I have nil, I have to write nil. For 2 I have to write by. At last I have to write ium, that is em, so I can write this name. Similarly you can try for other digits. This is the table that I am showing you, right? For example we have done for 101, 102. You can do it for another digits. It's very easy, you can try it. Now we will discuss about the division of the element. Means basically this long form of this periodic table is basically can be divided into the 4 main blocks. These are S, P, D and F block. Okay, these divisions are based upon the electronic configuration of the elements, and in this division the elements which involves the filling of the particular orbital, that is s, p, d or f, they are grouped together. Okay, so let's talk with the first element, that is s block elements. What will be the s block elements? The s block elements will be the elements in which the last electron enters the s orbital of their outermost energy level, that will be called as s block elements. Means when a last electron will enter the outermost energy level of the means outermost energy shell, that will be known as s block elements. You can take level as shell. Okay, and the general configuration will be ns1. For example, helium, it is atomic number is 2, so I can write 1s2. so means its ranges vary from 1 to 2. For hydrogen I can, atomic number is 1, so I have to write 1s1. Okay, so let's talk about the general characteristics of this s block elements. So basically I can give you one more example to more clarifying. For example, hydrogen we have done. Suppose I am having sodium atomic number is 11, so 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. So this is a means in last you can see 1 is added at the last shell, means in s shell or s, so that's why this is known as s block elements. So first two groups are known as s block elements because last electrons enter to the s block. Similarly I can write for magnesium, that is for Mg atomic number is 12, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 then 3s2. This how to write this configuration I have discussed in your previous chapter. In that video you can, if you forget, you can see that video again. So this is how we can say this. So last electron enters to the s orbital, so that's why this is known as s block elements. So their properties are, first one properties is they are having very low melting and boiling points because they are metals. Okay, they will lose the electron, and they want to lose electron to complete their octet. Okay, so they are metals, they have low melting and boiling point, they have low ionization enthalpies. Ionization enthalpy is the energy required to remove electron. We will discuss in detail about ionization enthalpy in this chapter later on. And the third property is they are very reactive and they readily form univalent or bivalent. Univalent means +1 and bivalent means +2. Means Na very easily loses one electron, becomes Na positive when it loses one electron. It is called univalent. For example, next is magnesium. Magnesium easily minus its 2 electron to become stable and becomes Mg2 positive. So it is bivalent. So these are very reactive and they readily form univalent and bivalent, which is known as alkali and alkaline earth metal. They are strong reducing agents. The reason is they lose their electron very quickly. So that's why other elements can gain electron from them. So that's why they are called strong reducing agent. The reason behind reducing agent is any element which can give electron easily, they will be a good reducing agent. So these metals are the good reducing agents. Next one is when we are most of them is impart characteristic color to the flame. When we are keeping them in a flame, they give color. You already have done some activity in 10th class, magnesium ribbon, when we burn with the help of candle. So it gives us some characteristic color. And they are mostly ionic compound, means they are formed by the transfer of electron, except for lithium and beryllium. We will discuss why this exception occur. Now I am going to talk about next elements, that is p block elements. So p block elements are those in which last electron enters the p orbital. That will be the p block elements, and their general configuration will be ns2 np126. This is very important to write. So whenever someone is talking about p block elements, so first of all you need to give definition, then this general configuration, then we will talk about the properties. So first one properties, they include metals and non-metal. They can be the metal, they can be the non-metal. The ionization are enthalpy of them are relative high as compared to s block elements, means it required more energy to remove the electron. and they are mostly covalent bond, mostly form covalent bond means sharing, they generally share their electrons. Next one is they show more oxidation state, they show plus sometime plus 3 to plus 6 or plus 7, they can show this up this plus 5, sorry, they can show up to this oxidation state, the means they show more than one oxidation states. Okay, and they occurs are gradations from reducing to oxidation property as we move across the period. We will discuss about this property again in this chapter, how this oxidizing property, why this oxidizing property increases as we move across the period. So next one is d block elements. So d block elements are those in which last electron enters the d orbital. Okay, similarly as s as p, now we are having d, when last electron enters the d orbital it will be a d block elements. General configuration n minus 1 d1 to 10 ns 0 to 2. So this is a general configuration. Next is the characteristics properties of d block elements are they have high melting and boiling point, they form colored compound, and they are also known as transition elements. This point you need to remember because they can change the shape. So these are also known as transition elements, and they are having a good tendency to form complex ion. What are the complex ion? Complex ion, the combination of more than 2 or 3 compounds. When 2 or more 3 elements, sorry, when the 2 or more 3 elements combine, they are known as complex compounds. Next one is these compounds are paramagnetic. We will discuss about paramagnetic in detail about it. And they have several oxidation state, means plus 5, plus 3, plus 2, even they can have oxidation states. Due to their basically d block element, they show this kind of so many oxidation states, and their inert pair effect we can say. And most of transition elements such as manganese, nickel, cobalt, vanadium, platinum and their compounds are used as a catalyst. And what are the catalyst? Catalyst are these elements which alter the rate of the reaction. It can increase or decrease the rate of reaction. Okay, it can increase the rate, means it can help the reaction to occur at a faster rate, or it can decrease the reaction rate. Okay, so next we will going to talk about f block elements. So when an electron enters to the last electron into the f orbital, that will be known as f block elements. Configuration is n minus 1, n minus 2 f1 to 14, n minus 1 d0 to 2 and ns2. This is a general configuration of f block elements. And we have discussed in detail how these we are going to fill this elements electronic configuration to the orbiter in our previous chapter. So you must see that video at the last video of the chapter, so that you can get to know how we are making this kind of configurations. Okay, next is general characteristics of this f block elements. So basically they are heavy metals because their atomic numbers are too high, near about I can say above 90, above 80 this f block element starts. So that's why they are too heavy metals, their atomic mass is generally high, and they have high melting and boiling point, again variable oxidation state. They can also form colored compounds, and they are also having a tendency to form complex compounds. Yes, they also form the complex ion, means combination of more than 2 elements or 3 elements. And actinoids, which are in the f block elements, they are radioactive in nature. Okay, radioactive means they continuously they emit some kind of radiation from it, like krypton, uranium, this kind of I am speaking about radio, these are radioactive elements. So this was the first part of the periodic table that we have started. So in later in other video I am going to continue this chapter. Thank you.